Welcome to Let Me Clear My Throat Sports Talk Show, where we dive deep into all things sports. Brought to you by your neighborhood Gumbies and Jill's Gentlemen's Club. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody. This week's episode has been something I've been passionate about for a little over a month now. My daughter has danced for a little over 7 years, and there's a different side of dance. You probably always see about the moms and everything they do, but my guest today and I, we are dance dads. Christian Turak and I are the ones that keep the dance humming with our daughters. We are the behind-the-scenes ones that financially support them, but also emotionally support them at their worst and best times. Christian, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, when did your daughter get into dance? Or both of them, I should say.
As soon as I could. So my wife is kind of the ringleader of all this. So as soon as she can get him into a dance studio, she got him in. So I don't know, what's that, like 2-3 years old or something along those lines. So yeah, they've been dancing continuously since then.
Were you familiar with dance before then, or is this something that you inherited?
I mean, I'm familiar with the fact that people do dance and that there are dance academies, but what I was getting into, had no clue, no idea whatsoever. But, you know, as soon as I did, you know, all the older parents and things like that came to me and started to fill me in. So got a little peek preview about what's to come, but no, had no idea, but it's been a fun journey so far.
If you're gonna make a run and you plan on having fun, the one place you should know, Gumbies Grab and go.
What's it like being a dance dad?
You got to wear a lot of hats.
Right.
You know, there's no shortage of things to do. There's no shortage of responsibilities that you have. But, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, it's an amazing experience. I love it. You know, getting to see your daughters, you know, really take to something, really put forth a lot of effort, practice, and then be able to see them get better and better. You know, it's been a really, really amazing and it's been a rewarding experience for everybody.
One thing I commend all of the dancers I played a lot of team sports growing up. Dance is as individualized as it gets. Sure, you have some team dances, but mostly you're competing against yourself. For kids and how well they do that, I commend them. What do you think?
Yeah, it is an individual sport, so to speak, for a lot of it. And they are competing just to get better, but yeah, they are competing against other girls at the end of the day. You know, there's whether that's in a team competition or it's an individual competition. So it kind of, to me, it blends both. And I love it. I mean, because it is a competitive environment. That's one of the things that I was really surprised to see, because I'm ultra competitive. You know, I want to win. I want to, you know, I love Kobe Bryant. You know, he doesn't want to just win. He wants to, like, you know, pound you into the earth and beat you over the head. So, you know, that's the mentality that I have. And, you know, I don't want to bring that to my girls, so to speak. They don't need to be Kobe Bryant on the dance floor. But, you know, I'm competitive, and I'm glad to see that this is a competitive environment. So, you know, hey, let's practice. Let's get better.
Right.
You know, I'm the dad that sits there and says, you know, hey, your front limber, you didn't land that well. Let's try it again. You know, as long as you're not pushing too hard, because, you know, as soon as you start pushing too hard, at least I know how I was as a child, which was, you're going to start pushing me too hard. I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. You know, I remember one time my father, you know, shooting free throws with basketball. You know, he said, make 3 in a row before we left. And I made 1, made 2, and then just to piss him off, just threw it across the backboard. And we'll be here all day if that's what we're going to do. So I don't want to bring that to my daughter, saying, hey, you know, we're going to get this perfect here and you're going to do it again and again and again. But, you know, as long as they want to push themselves, I'm going to push them.
Awesome.
And so that's what I really like about dance, is they've really taken to that.
How often do they practice?
So, I mean, you know, they have, I'm sure your daughters are the same way. You know, they have their normal practices. They go to the dance studio. Stella, my oldest, she's 6 turning 7. She goes 3 days a week.
Right.
Scarlett, she's 5. She goes 1 day a week with some solo practice on Friday. But, you know, so they do that, and we go, you know, we make it a point that we're going to go to every one of those. But I say practice for them is continuous.
More along the house.
I mean, well, I mean, anywhere we go to the grocery store, and hey, stay here. I'm gonna go look over here to get a bag of chips. They're doing cartwheels down the, you know, and they're dancing around, and You know, my daughter's, you know, the ringleader. She's trying to do choreography with my younger daughter who can't keep up. You know, she's just, you know, it's a big mess, and this is in the middle of Kroger. So,
Right.
so they're, you know, and at home, I mean, they're constantly doing, put this song on. Dad, play us a song. You know, I'll play them, you know, songs from the 80s they've never heard, and they just start dancing to them, you know, like the safety dance or something, or, you know, anything, and they start dancing, and it's...
How do you balance all of that schedule, school, your work schedule? How do you make it all work?
I don't know. It works somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife is amazing, Maggie. She's big shout out to Maggie. You know, she keeps us going. She keeps us on schedule. We couldn't do it without her. But yeah, it's a team effort, and it's a lot. You know, my wife, she'll bring him to the studio Monday and Tuesday. You know, that gives me a chance I can work late in the office and get some things done. Friday, you know, Tuesday night I'll pick Stella up from dance because she stays late. So, you know, she brings Scarlett and our son Ambrose, she brings them home. So, you know, it's just that you get into a routine, you figure out what works, and then you just do it. And then if something happens, you know, you have to call an audible and you just get it taken care of. You just go with the flow.
Rolling on that with the audible, we briefly mentioned a little bit ago, the competition days can be long. And you have a lot of girls with a lot of blaring music at hours you don't want to be listening to that music. How do you stay involved in that? What is your role as a dad?
I mean, that's tough because, I mean, as you know, I mean, we need to be at some of these dance competitions at 7 in the morning.
Correct. Yep.
That means you're waking up at 5 in the morning sometimes.
Yes.
So, and I don't go to bed early.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a, you know, early to bed. I'm not early in the morning, so it's tough for me. But, you know, you're there, you wake up early, you get there early, and, you know, like the last one, not the last one, but the previous one we're at in Monroeville, you know, my daughter's one of the first dancers of the day, and then they didn't do their team competition until sometime in the afternoon. So it's, you get there, my wife's getting the makeup on, getting the costumes on, you know, I'm getting the bags out of the car, pulling them up there. And then it's, you know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes of dashing around, you know, trying to get things ready for that first dance. And then it happens, and then it's a lot of time, just about a dead time sitting around. So how do you take care of that dead time now?
I gotta ask.
If you figured it out, you let me know because...
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you this, and I already know the answer. How involved are you with the costumes? Do you set them up? Do you get to go in the back and put them on the girls?
Absolutely not, no. No, I want no part of that. I want no part of that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, my wife, you know, listen, that's my wife's thing.
Yep.
She loves it. She's all into the costumes, what they look like. She just has a picture of my credit card, and she pays for it all. So little dangerous. But yeah, it's you know, she takes care of that. You know, that to me, that's something my wife does with the girls. They get into it. That's their thing, and you know, let them go with it. And plus, you don't want me doing their makeup. No.
What has surprised you most about dance so far? For me, I think you touched on it a little while ago. It's the competitiveness. These girls can be very competitive, especially at a young age, on a sport that I know nothing about.
Yeah, the competitiveness 100%, you know, I thought it'd just be more like fun and we get up there and, you know, but there is a real competitive aspect to it that has surprised me. You know, the other thing, and I think it goes hand in hand with that, has really surprised me is how seriously they take it. Yeah, it's very serious. You know, if you know, Mandy, you know, shout out Mandy at Turner Out Dance Academy, Jill, you know, shout out Jill. You know, they work really hard with these girls and guys. And there's some guys there. Work really hard with them. They take it very seriously, whether you're, you know, 3, 4 and just starting out, or whether you're a senior and you're graduating and this is your last hurrah. I mean, they want you to be the best dancer that you can be, and you know, and the girls are having fun too, so it's not like it's ultra strict and some of them are yelling at them and things like that. So how seriously the people take it is something that's really surprised me. But I think it's a good thing. Have
you picked up on any of the dance lingo or any of the different topics?
The lingo, yeah, here and there. I mean, I'm learning, you know, some of the ballet moves. I still mispronouncing the chané and
very much so.
Something else, you know, whatever. Like, I know what they are, but you ask me to name them, no, I can't do it. But some of the acrobatics, the front limber, I don't know which one it is, heel stretch, things like that. And I'm learning it, and, you know, that's funny because, you know, just hanging around the house, I'll be cooking dinner or something like that. They'll be running around and say, hey, Stella,
Yeah.
front limber, and she'll do it. Hey, Scarlett, heel stretch. Yeah. And now they always like to put their left foot up in the air, and I always say, do your other hoof. I call it their hooves. Do your other hoof, and they want to do it because
point them toes.
They can't do the right one as good as their left one. I said, you gotta practice your other hoof there. We got to get going with it.
What is a typical weekend when you have a dance competition like?
Early. It starts early and it ends late. Like I said, you're waking up at 5 a.m. If it's, somewhat local, you're waking up at, 5 a.m. or so. My thing that I always want to know is what time are we leaving? What time we got to leave? That's all I need to know. That's my responsibility, what time we're leaving. But, it gets up at 5 a.m. You're, like I said, you get into the dance competition at 7. You're staying there until 7 o'clock, sometimes later for the awards. And then a lot of times you're waking up the next day to rinse and repeat.
Right.
So it's a long haul.
What do you think your daughters have gained from dance so far? What do you feel they're getting out of it?
So much. I really do think that they're getting so much out of it. I was telling my daughter last night because she was stressed out about there's a spelling bee at her school today.
Right.
And so we've been practicing and she gets so stressed out. And so I was talking to her at night. I said, "Are you ready for the spelling bee?" And she just was so nervous about it. And so, and to me, that was, I told her, I said, here's the thing you have to understand is, I did spelling bees when I was growing up, and I loved it. That's something I excelled at. I always read, and it was just easy for me. So there was no fear or nervousness about me going up on stage and spelling words. And I said, but you do. But I said, look at it this way as well. You get up on a dance stage and dance in front of dozens and dozens of people getting judged on it. I said, and you get up there like it's nothing. You're not nervous. You know what you need to do. You're excited to get up there. Right. I said, my exact words were hers. If that was me, I'd be pooping my pants.
Yes.
Because I don't want to be getting up on stage and dancing in front of people. Yeah. So I said, that's amazing that you can do that, and I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
So I said, everyone has their things that they're better at and not better at, but you can do that. And I think that's just one example of what my daughters have gained. Just the ability to go up there and express themselves. Right. To be able to do that in front of people, to execute their moves. I always feel like they do their best dance on stage. I really do. So that has always amazed me. And I used to get extremely nervous when they get up there. Like I couldn't sit still. I'd be pacing because I'm so scared that they're going to forget their dance move. They're going to freeze up there. Yeah. And it's never happened. And they've always just got up there like it's natural. So.
Not afraid to admit I've been known to cry a time or two after my daughter's gotten off the stage.
Yeah, well, you went there.
It gets you. So what is your proudest moment so far from them dancing?
I think it was the last competition we went to. It was Stella has, again, my oldest. She's the one that takes it very, very seriously. But she had her solo, and she was getting better and better with her acrobatics the longer her practice went on. And so they kept adding and adding more acrobatics to her routine. And, she practiced the hell out of it. She was so determined to get those acrobatics down, to remember when to do them, to execute them. And I remember the warming up before she went to the last competition. It was me and her. I had my phone with the music on. It's loud in there, so... put the phone right next to her, and she's doing her dance moves, and I'm following around so she can hear it. And she got the moves, but they weren't crisp, and they weren't, tight. And so we went through it 4 or 5 times, but she knew when to do them, so she wasn't going to forget what her routine was. And I remember telling Maggie, my wife, I said, I'm a little bit nervous about this, we're doing it for the first time. And I tell you, she got up there and just...
Made your jaw drop.
Nailed it. Yeah. Just nailed it. And and like you said, you tear up a little. I did. Yeah. I teared up a little bit. I was like, she worked her ass off on it, and how she got up there, executed it. Yeah. It's bringing tears to my eyes right now. It does.
Oh, yeah.
But and then that's just, that's just one example of, all the other times that I've seen them do something that's really, really impressed me and really showed me what they're made of as people.
We'll end with this. Is this something that you see them doing long term?
I hope so. I really do hope so. I mean, I know it's a big commitment, and it does kind of really, it drives my wife crazy sometimes, you know. But I really do, because, you know, my thing in life is you have to find something to invest in, whatever that is for you, right. Something that you're passionate about, something that you're willing to work at, so that, you know, you become a better person, you know, the more you put into it. And I think my daughters, especially my older daughter Stella, she has found something that she is passionate about.
Good.
I mean, because they wouldn't be doing it at home all the time.
Right.
You know, she wouldn't be at school getting her classmates together, choreographing everybody to a dance routine. So, you know, I hope she's found something. You know, it's a lot of work. She knows it's a lot of work. She's tired a lot. But I hope it's something that she really sticks to. And, you know, my younger daughter as well. I mean, she really, really takes it seriously and does it. So they've found something I feel like they're really passionate about. So, you know, I'd like to see them stick it through, and I'd like to be there when they're seniors and doing their last dance. And I'll be crying all over again. I'll be crying. And so, yeah, I do hope. I do hope so.
Well, maybe you and I will come back to a sequel, and you'll see us on the dance floor one day.
Well, maybe we'll see you on the dance floor.
Fair enough.
I'll need a lot of training to get up there.
Christian, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Jill's Gentlemen's Club is Ohio Valley's party headquarters. There's nowhere better to have a party than Jill's Gentlemen's Club. We specialize in making sure your group experiences a one-of-a-kind night. When looking for quality entertainment, Jill's Gentlemen's Club is the place to be. Jill's Gentlemen's Club, a class act.
That's a wrap for Let Me Clear My Throat Sports Talk Show. Big thanks to our sponsors, your neighborhood Gumbies and Jill's Gentlemen's Club. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and keep the game strong.